before we have bone, we have cartilage, specifically hyaline cartilage. Think of the hyaline cartilage as just being a rough shape of what is soon going to be bone. And think of your body cells as being a sculptor, which carves, shapes, and hardens before we have the final product being the fully developed adult bone. Now, we have all the cartilage here, right? Which is going to be chondrocytes, and then we have the matrix, which is just cartilage made by the chondrocytes. So when we have when it's all cartilage, it essentially looks like that. However, once they've fulfilled the role, the chondrocytes die off and we leave the matrix, which is just the cartilage. So you can see that here, all this just being the matrix and these hollow spaces being the lacuna, right? So think of it as a fishing net. The holes being the lacuna where the cells, the chondrocytes previously resided, and then this just being the matrix. Now on the outside, where we have the perichondrium, the perichondrium begins producing osteoblasts, which are the bone forming cells. So we produce a bone collar along the diaphysis of the bone, this being the diaphysis, and then this is the epiphysis. Diaphysis, I don't know it's where the text is here, but epiphysis, right? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So it converts this into the periosteum. And then this would be like a top-down view. So think of it as a semi-hollow cylinder, semi-hollow because the matrix of the chondrocytes is still here, being the cartilage. Then we have blood vessels that go through. Those blood vessels, we have osteoclasts, which are the, breaking down cells of bones, enter from the blood and break down the remaining cartilage, and then converts it into bone. It would be converting it into the trabeculae. So it would convert that, converts that into the trabeculae. Think of it as like scaffolding. It provides further support for the bone. Allowing it to support more weight and more stress rather than it being rather than being completely hollow. Makes it more rigid. Within those spaces, you would have yellow bone marrow filling these spaces. And that is essentially it for endochondral ossification. Now these black lines would be your growth plates. And then, so what we just went over would be the primary ossification, which essentially happens just along the diaphysis of a long bone. Now the epiphysis, right, think of like just the ends of the bones here. That would be your secondary ossification, which is essentially the same process. It doesn't happen at the same time, it happens after and as the child grows. And rather than it being yellow bone marrow, you would have red bone marrow. And then I'll just pull up this picture. A little bit better than what I drew. So we have just quick summary. The hyaline cartilage, the cells, the chondrocytes. We begin forming the bony collar. The the chondrocytes are gone. We just have the matrix. The matrix, those like little dark spots being the lacuna. Blood vessels come in. We convert that matrix into lacuna, bone, a bony matrix. And that is basically it for the primary ossification center. And then we do the same process over again in the secondary ossification center. And that is it. This is not a very in-depth video, but this is just a very simple explanation.